Welcome, brothers. Welcome, sisters. Welcome to our program On Target. Those of us who are in the diaspora and anyone who have the opportunity in this internet and the medium, welcome to our program. And you're well aware as soon as we start this program, you could pick up the telephone and call. You have the opportunity to change the subject matter, introduce a new topic, and we encourage people, no preamble, just punch. We don't like rules, but we want our people to be respectful. You don't have to agree with us. And if we make a statement, you could ask us, what is the justification? What is the reason why you're saying what you're saying? We believe truth must walk the street in Grenada. Too much times we're letting falsehood flourish. Grenadians must live in the house of truth. If you have difficulties, all in truth yard, the veranda, with time, we go able to live in the house. And our leaders in Grenada must live in the house of truth. We are on Real FM 91.9, 91.5. We are in Brooklyn, New York. You can get us on FM 94.9. We are on YouTube and Facebook. We encourage you to like the program, subscribe to the program, and share the program. That is a program where you have the opportunity to challenge us. You could just call and say, I don't agree with you. All that is all right. Nothing is wrong with that. We have to be a tolerant people. We have to be able to sit down and discuss issues and avoid personal attacks. It's not necessary. You don't have to rub my face in the dust. Let us discuss the issue. We have a lot of issue to discuss in Grenada, and it must be discussed. I take the strongest objection to academia, the intelligentsia, the privilegencia, the people who are managers, when they refuse to have discussion in their own community. If people who are successful don't want to share information with you in your own community, stay away from them. They're bad-minded. A lot of our people who have success story in Grenada had free education. They had an opportunity. And when government pay for your education, you have an obligation to help others. Today is March 13. 1979 was a significant period in the history of Grenada and the Caribbean. The legitimate government was overthrown. At that time, the government had 9 seats in parliament, and the opposition, which was an alliance between a number of parties, had 6. The alliance then, under Maurice Bishop, decided that they cannot wait. They had serious cracks in the alliance. And they know they couldn't win election alone. So they used the guns. They used the bullet. They overthrew the government. It was not legal. It was not necessary. But they had gunpowder. It was the first time in the Caribbean we had a coup d'etat. You have to understand, Grenada tend to have a very tumultuous history. And after 4.5 years, the coup d'etat, the attempted revolution, failed miserably. We committed the worst crimes in Grenada after slavery and colonialism was committed in that 4.5 years. Maurice Bishop signed the order to jail 3,000 Grenadians plus. About 2,000 was in jail too. Maurice Bishop did not sign that order. Pierre hold you, they lock you up in St. Patrick's for 3 days, 2 weeks. You're in Grenville for 3 weeks, 2 weeks. Maurice Bishop didn't sign this order. But he signed the order for 3,000 people, over 3,000 people, without charge, without trial, and without an opportunity to defend themselves. We heard incidents where people was executed. I still ask some of the comrades, most of them in America now, the hardline communists in Grenada, who used to be accusing us for being counter-revolutionary and saying you want to turn back the revolution, all of them went to America. None of them go in Cuba. They don't go and hide in Germany or Czechoslovakia or Russia. Even those that were trained in these countries did not want to go back in the country. They wanted to go back to the land of the free and brave. They wanted to go back and watch the flag of old glory in the land of opportunities, the good old America. Today, March 30th, some of the revolutionaries who will be trying to propagate it was a glorious revolution, and nothing is wrong with that. Some people benefited immensely. But I think it was a sad day in Grenada's history. And I ask those who are propagating the view that it was a glorious revolution if the end justified the means. Maurice Bishop built an airport, and let's give him that. If they want to claim that he had the idea, he chose his spot, he built it, give him all that, for argument's sake. Did the end justify the means? St. Vincent recently built an international airport. No one was in prison. Antigua, Barbados, St. Lucia, Bermuda, all of them have international airport. And none of the citizens went to jail. Was it justified for Maurice Bishop to jail over 3,000 people just to build an airport? That was the only success story in the revolution. The rest is a bag of propaganda and lies. We could discuss these issues. Today in Grenada, the communists, the Marxists, Leninists, the atheists, all of them see another hope. They get another chance. Because the present Prime Minister of Grenada, somewhere along in his infancy, hate and revenge was installed in him. So now he gets an opportunity. You see the first thing he do. Evoke Maurice Bishop's spirit. Attack the elderly, the physically challenged, and disadvantaged children. And he continued to make political mischief. We have to be careful as a people, because I believe a people deserve the government they have in a democracy. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yeah, hello, I'm calling from New York.
Yes.
One question, Mr. Pierre. What was said during the NDC convention rally at Bush issue by the Prime Minister concerning about knowing your people and not knowing your people? Was that said by any other leader in Grenada or in the Caribbean or in the world, in the past or present? Because I don't remember any other leader, maybe they have talked it, but I've never heard a leader come out and express this divisive view out in public ever before. So have you ever heard any leader stating such a position?
Never. Yeah, no, I've never heard a leader say that. But I said, Ollie, Deacon Mitchell is a fake. And I've been studying it. And he have done a number of things that did not surprise me when he said that. This discussion took place in meetings already. When you hear the mouthpieces of the NDC making such statements on the ground, and the number of them that is making this fractious and divisive statement, it had to come from a meeting. You heard Deacon introduce restorative justice, and Deacon introduced a ministry to help to implement it. One of the government main official mouthpiece, he was calling on people to look at the people who are attending NNP meeting, the public officers. In fact, he named public officers, teachers, prison officers, police that attending NNP meeting. And we on the radio call on people. If you're a public officer, if you're a young person looking for a job or a scholarship, don't call our program. At one time, they was calling this program and say, where the youth's calling you? And we knew what they were about. So we've been asking, don't call the program. The Prime Minister considered some people in Grenada as classless. This one had me taken aback. Beggy, corners. Another minister speak about the good people in his constituency. One other minister talk about lunatics and idiots. And all these statements were coming from the top leadership of the government. It must mean that that was a plan. Tevin Anjo in Kariakou, he cussed the police. And he was beating his chest. He said, they ask you, I cuss the police? Yes, I cuss the police. The little bad behaved sister in St. John, she was disrespectful to the police. So when you see all these utterances, these expressions, these statements, in addition to what comes from the top echelon of the NDC, and those propagated by the NDC mouthpiece, it means that they discuss this issue. The Prime Minister's statement perhaps came as a rude awakening to a number of people, but I've always been questioning him. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, greeting Elder, how are you?
Great, man.
Well, Mr. Pierre, I would like to give my few punches.
Yeah.
Grenada is a democratic state, and Grenada is governed by laws and orders for all citizens locally and internationally in the diaspora. And when any laws or rules are broken, those that do it should be held accountable. One could agree on that. Now, in reference to the previous debate in the House of Parliament, why is Leo Cato not being penalized for breaking the fundamental rules of Parliament? Why is the PM supporting wrongdoing by cheering it on? The Speaker of the House called Dr. Keith Mitchell by his name, and he did violate Section 40, subsection 5. What kind of message are we sending to His Majesty and those internationally if we don't follow our own rules and laws as citizens? What's going on in Grenada? Those are my punches. I want everyone to listen and understand my point of views. Thank you, brother.
Yes, my brother. I thought Leo Cato was placed in the most awkward position. And because Leo Cato has been very biased, he did not know how to deal with it. He did not know how to untangle himself from that position. I don't agree with the NNP They believe that the action of the Prime Minister was to affect them. No. The Prime Minister wanted to discipline Dennis Cornwall. He wanted to embarrass Dennis Cornwall. That is why he did what he did. Maybe Keith Mitchell see through it quick. That is why Keith Mitchell remained in the building. When Dennis Cornwall stood up to close the debate, everybody understood in the House that he was closing the debate. And he started. It appears then that the Prime Minister was jolted. The Speaker of the House. Yes, caller, I'll take your call and come back.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother.
Yeah, Mr. Pierre. My take on this whole debacle, because this is the first time I get a chance to talk about it, because I listened to the budget presentation Friday, I listened Monday, and I listened Tuesday, and I saw what happened afterward. I didn't really see the activity first time. I saw it afterwards. Now, the interaction with the Speaker of the House and Dr. Mitchell was rather heated indeed, yes. Both sides' tempers flew. That's my opinion. Yeah? But in the interim, the Speaker of the House was in breach of a lot of the rules. First of all, he was addressing Dr. Mitchell as Dr. Mitchell. That's one. He wasn't addressing Dr. Mitchell as member of St. George Northwest or MP or parliamentary rep. You know, that was one. And when the Speaker of the House read the rules of the House, that rules was prerequisite to what's happening. So the Prime Minister came and said that he will be closing the argument or the debate when the Minister of Finance already stand and he was given it his closing thing already. So that's all Dr. Mitchell was telling the Speaker of the House, and the Speaker wasn't hearing it, you know? And I mean, you are hearing members of the other side, the NDC side, throwing talk about go and pounding the table. I mean, the level of disrespect right now is glaring. Mr. Pierre, I watched the walkout. There's a speculation going on and a rumor going on that Dr. Mitchell led the walkout. The leader of His Majesty Opposition, Honorable Pierre, she stand up and she led the way out. Dr. Mitchell second, and Honorable Kate Lewis third, and Miss Modest third and fourth. You know? And people of the notion that Dr. Mitchell led this thing, and that is what the rumor is going on for the NDC base. This is dangerous. NDC spread a lot of dangerous rumor. And you see the infantile behavior from Ron Redhead, Andy Williams, and Kirin James, Tevin Andrews, and even the wording the Prime Minister said about referencing the Parliament of Bahamas and what could be happening. These men are dog whistling for what is to come. They are doing it, and they are doing it blatantly. Grenadiers, keep your eyes open, watch the voters list, look at what is happening. And lastly, before I go, I'm hearing about this guy on the radio, this big nose guy, talking about he wants to make some petition to take away the MPs on the opposition side salary and don't give them no vehicle and all this nonsense and this $10,000. What I'm hearing about this petition is that they want phone numbers and names. That is dangerous. And they're targeting school and they're targeting the National College. NNP PR, NNP executive, get on the ball with this. Get on the ball with this. I'm making a warning to you all. Mr. Pierre, have a good afternoon.
Yes, the Speaker of the House, Leo Keto, was caught with his pants down. And he did not have a clue how to deal with the situation. When he called the Minister of Finance, Dennis Cornwall, to have a secret caucus, Dennis Cornwall did not agree with him. So he went back to his podium and continued to speak. The Speaker of the House then had to ask for a recess. And I believe the Prime Minister's action was specifically to discipline, to shame and to embarrass the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Minister of Finance, Dennis Cornwall. And the Minister of Finance did not agree with the Prime Minister. You could look at his demeanor and the fact that he returned back to the podium and started to speak. The opposition was correct. Then they tried to make it look as if they want Doc to speak. The main thing they expected, they did not expect the opposition to say nothing. Deacon did that specifically to embarrass, to shame, to dilute the significance of Dennis Cornwall. If Deacon was genuine, Dennis Cornwall would have known before that the Prime Minister is going to round up the debate. In addition to that, when the Prime Minister spoke, it wasn't about the debate. It was more about him, his constituency. It was not pertaining to the debate. I tell you, this man is a fake. Even within his team, he has no respect for the members. He believes that the money he gives them should have them obeying him without question. The Prime Minister would be crazy if he believed that. These individuals represent constituency, and the constituency would be challenging them. Look at the Minister of Foreign Affairs. The Prime Minister has practically made him compromise him. He promised it generally make the Minister of Foreign Affairs a mama pool. How would the people of Shantimel and Monkridge and St. Patrick's see the Minister of Foreign Affairs? The man was very vociferously, vehemently against the signing of the Somo Agreement. He evoked revolutionary passion speaking about it. And then he had to eat his words and choke. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, good afternoon, sir.
Yes, my brother.
Yes. What I am saying is that
You're very low. I don't know what happening to you.
yeah. Hello?
You better.
Yes. What I am seeing is that this Prime Minister have all the makings of a dictator. This is not the first time he embarrassed Dennis Cornwall. I remember when they just came to power, there was some press conference and a question was asked to Mr. Cornwall, and he said he haven't got the information at hand, but he will get the information and get back to the journalists. And as soon as he finished, the Prime Minister jumped up and said, look, he have the information. You know, like when you're in a classroom and you're trying to show you the brightest in the class. But I think what he should have done was to just keep silent and let things proceed. But that is where I first realized that this man has a dictatorial mentality. And if you look at what he is doing now, everything has to be him, head cook and bottle washer. Whatever he says goes. Grenadians have to be careful. This man is a dictator. What's going on, what is happening in Grenada is dictatorship in the making. The other thing is that this government is the worst example for young people in this country. Imagine you're violating the laws as the government. So what are the examples you're showing to the young people? The next thing is that if you want to go in parliament and behave that way, what do you expect for the school children to do with the teachers and so in school? Right? Mr. Pierre, Grenada in a sad state. And not only the abuse of the Grenada economy, the abuse of power, all the actions is dictatorship, and we have to watch ourselves with that next election coming up. This man he have intention to put a plan in place to win that next election, not through honest means, but through some form of dishonestment. Have a good day, sir.
Yes, I have to agree with you. The line with impunity. They encourage people to use objectionable language in public where children and women was. Bribery seems to be synonymous with the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister has been accused of accepting gifts, expensive gifts, and he has not retired to the Integrity Commission. It is rumored that the same individuals who give them gifts, the Prime Minister and his team gave them massive concession to the extent that some people could not have received their Christmas parcel in December. Yes, caller, welcome. You there, caller? We lost him. So yes, I agree with you. Go ahead. But you have to cut off the... We hear him back with voice. You have to cut off the... You ready?
You hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Pierre, I agree with the last caller. But before I say that, today should be a day where people should call you and give you the past experience, because it's a historic day.
Well, it's a historic day. It's a sad day too. It's not... Yes, it's a historic day, but it's not joyous for everybody.
At this time, I was hiding under a bed in Chantilly, but still...
You're very lucky I was in Chantilly, otherwise they might have killed you.
I left Monkridge and I run to Chantilly and hide. Because I know they would have kept me in Monkridge. But I did get away. Mr. Pierre, you is correct. I heard...
You see that
Prime
device in the
Ministers
back?
already. I heard Prime Ministers close debate already. But first time I hear a Prime Minister try to close a debate, but all he speak about is what he did, who he give toys in Christmas gun, who he give food hamper, those things. Not on a national basis. Also, I know and I heard the Prime Minister disappointed with certain statements his Minister of Finance made. I heard him say that at this time, they haven't got all the money to finance the 2025 budget. They don't have all the money. They depend on taxpayers, inland revenue, and wherever. So don't worry Dennis Cornwell by saying the budget is fully financed. So these people are not together.
He tried to embarrass Dennis Cornwell. I firmly believe that.
The Minister of Finance say one, the Prime Minister say one. So that man pop up. People, it is time that you should realize these people cannot manage the affairs of this country. All they know is how to do corruption and think about money. We are in bad hands. Grenadians, it's time we see we have a leader God sent to us. She demonstrates the ability. I will be warning you, Grenadians. I'm warning you. Thank you, sir.
Yes, my friend. I think the Prime Minister, I think his real intention was to dilute the significance of Dennis Cornwell. The Prime Minister is a very vindictive individual. As soon as he come in politics, he went after marketing board. And they claim marketing board beat him in the courts. So he went after marketing board. You saw the heartless action of the Prime Minister. When he promised the elderly people $650, he referenced the World Bank to convince them. And immediately on winning election, he removed $150 from the elderly and the physically challenged. Not even disadvantaged children was spared. This is the individual you have. He tells lies with impunity. I don't know how he expects people to believe him. But if he could do that to his own Minister of Finance, Dennis Cornwall, it might give you an idea about the enormity of the challenge that we have in Grenada. It might give you an idea of him. And this is a good period to discuss this issue. Because the Marxist-Leninists, the communists, the atheists, those who are not certain whether they're male or female, all of them see hope in Deacon Mitchell. All of them see hope in Deacon Mitchell. And you notice Deacon Mitchell is hiding from the media. You could say what you want about Donald Trump. Donald Trump liked the media. And he is promoting that America, the media must be more free in America. And he gives reason for what he does. Although he's a little bit too arrogant and brash and untactful. And sometimes you could call him a moron. But he tells you what he is doing and why. And you can see the justification and the rationale for it. Whereas Deacon is making secret, clandestine, and mysterious travel. He's hiding away from the press. And he's lying like when horse trotted. We as a people have to be aware. We cannot hide. We cannot hide ourselves. We must look at the writing of the wall, on the wall. If we continue on that trajectory, we're going to bring the economy into free fall. You see how dismissive the Prime Minister was of the IMF, the International Monetary Fund. He wants to lend money, and he spends this money scandalously. They don't care about it. Yes, caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome.
Hello, good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Go right ahead.
Hello?
Yes, caller, you welcome. You're loud and clear. We're hearing you. Go right ahead.
All right. So, good afternoon, Mr. Pierre, and good afternoon to the listeners of Real FM. Now, first of all, I would like to compliment the leader of the opposition for her presentation and her rebuttal to the budget. Now, remember, she is a newcomer, a rookie as leader of the opposition. And that reminds, her presentations remind me that how Philemon Thomas ducked away from making a presentation of the budget in 2003, and Nazim Buck had to make the presentation on behalf of the National Democratic Congress. And therefore, Ms. Pierre must be commended for making such an historic, presentation as a rookie in the parliament. Now, during the rally of the NDC on the 2nd of March, the Prime Minister said today that the government, that Julian Fedor revolution started on this day. But let us remind the Prime Minister that while he invoking the spirit of Julian Fedor, that Julian Fedor fought against an oppressive regime of the landed British class. And the statement which he made, that in order for you to get anything from government, you have to be an NDC, it is the same thing that the British did to us. And that's why Fedor had to fight against an oppressive regime. So, Mr. Prime Minister, your regime is becoming oppressive, and therefore, when you are invoking the spirit of Julian Fedo, be very careful because Julian Fedo fought against an oppressive government. Today, I want to salute the martyrs of the 1951 revolution, Agatha Fraser, Snell Fraser, and John Duncan, whose blood was spilled in Latin, that we should have the freedom we enjoy today. And I say, hats off to all the people who fought in that revolution, which we call the social revolution, that has brought economic and social justice to us and changed the political landscape of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martin. Thank you, Mr. Pierre. Have a good evening.
Yes, it's very important. I say to people, if you don't speak, yes, caller, welcome.
Yes, good afternoon to you, Doc.
Yes, my brother.
How are you today?
Great, man. Good, man.
Right, don't give up, don't give up.
No.
I'll tell you something. I like the spirit we develop these days. You know, but I want to compliment the leaders who are speaking out on the situation with the United States and Cuba. I have been calling on our leaders to be voiceless for many, many years. They are late. Cost is overwhelming us. They had to take this position more than 30 years, more than 40 years ago. But they were seeing themselves as small island people, and then we hadn't the voice to speak. Because if you speak, they're going to put embargo. Let me tell you something. Before, I used to have hundreds of pounds of sauce up spoiling. I could have only eaten one sauce up that was spoiling on the ground. So for the sake of selling our sauce up to the U.S., are we going to sacrifice our people? I'm saying no. I don't want a visa to go to the States. I don't have a visa, and I don't want to go there too anyway. So I believe we have to speak to represent our people. And if they have to say no visa, we will survive. Our leaders have to start representing us on a very serious level. Position the economy, right, to take care of us. We will survive. Look, it shouldn't have any poor people in Grenada. The kind of economy we have and the kind of things we have here, the cocoa, the nutmeg, the cinnamon, the clove, and so much herb, we all should be very rich people. So we don't have to, I never went to the States. We don't have to go to the States to survive. We don't have to go to Canada to survive. If we put ourselves together, we are going to survive. We can do it on our own. But I want to make a clarion call to the people of my constituency, St. David's. Let us try to position St. David's as an economic hub. And I'm making that call to people who are coming back home. Come live in St. David's. Come build in St. David's. Come invest in St. David's. We're on a drive to raise 100,000 senior people. When I say senior, I mean adults, to make St. David's an economic hub. In other words, we're on the way to self-management. Yeah? We produce government for this country, St. David's, and we could produce one for ourselves. So if we grow our population to 100,000 person, we could get commerce going. We can take care of ourselves. Let us unite, St. David's people. Let us invest and help each other. Build in St. David's, grow our population. To those people who are here, don't run in Lansepin and run in Dabo and Grandans Valley. Build here, grow your population. Let us create a strong commerce for St. David's, and let us take care of ourselves. That is my appeal to the St. David's. I am on the ground, and I'm prepared as a custom to do things three to ensure that that happens. We are on our way to self-management. I'm not saying self-government, self-management. So we can manage St. David's to create jobs in St. David's. We need to have a University of St. David's in St. David's and cater for St. David's and beyond. This is our drive. Please support us to this end.
Yes, scholar. Thank you very much. Yes, you have these issues brewing between the Caribbean and the USA. And I would like Caribbean leaders, come clean with your people. Ask them, tell them why. What is the US making noise about? You're talking about the medical doctors. What problem the US have with Cuban medical doctors? Because when you speak, you could well deceive the people on the ground. What is the US accusing you of? Is it true? Provide information for your people. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, good afternoon.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard the Prime Minister's statement when he made concerning the $10,000 that is given to every parliamentarian.
Yeah.
But I can't understand, and I find something wrong. And I think that should be investigated, and the Prime Minister should be the person to investigate it. The Prime Minister is claiming that he have never got a cent, and that the opposition persons have never report what they done with their money. I don't think they have to report directly to the Prime Minister. There must be a source of reporting.
But first of all, the Prime Minister will tell us what his members do with the money. The Prime Minister, remember, you're dealing with a man that lying like one horse trotting here. Don't forget that. The Prime Minister tell lies. Not because he's a lawyer. He's lying.
The Prime Minister said that he has been running his parish with his salary and gifts that he gets from other people and other places.
Well, he get 100,000 kits from Dangote. He give it to St. David's. He went in St. Patrick's in Dennis Cornwall constituency and begged the Chinese to go and help some community center in St. David's. Dennis Cornwall must be upset. The WASH program, St. David's, every initiative the Prime Minister started in his constituency, Color, keep it here, would have never done that. How could you get 1,000 cricket kits and you don't show it around? You don't see that he's a bandit.
Something wrong.
They afraid because he's a liar. If he's a bandit, he's a bandit.
Yeah, I'm
Come on.
with that. There's something wrong. And the persons on the opposition side, they don't have to come to the Prime Minister and give him a list of...
No, they don't have to do that.
There is a document...
And they have to wait and see if the other members report it.
Yeah.
They're right. That means the opposition go last.
I mean, come on, the Prime Minister has to do better.
The Prime Minister is a bandit. We're afraid to say, if he's a little thief in your community, you call him a wrong time. The Prime Minister is a liar, but the Prime Minister is a fake. Why is it we have a liar living in Grenada that telling so much lies, using obscenities, making movie with an illegal substance to eat weed? You know weed illegal.
And a little piece on the Speaker of the House. I think it's time for the Speaker to do a course.
A course?
Yeah, the Speaker is not aware of the principle.
The Speaker is aware of the principle, but the Speaker get contaminated. What happened to aside for the Speaker, you know? The Speaker was caught with his pants down.
Listen, the Speaker, Mr.
Dennis Cornwall.
No, it's a David. Before he started to speak, he asked the Speaker for additional time because he says he has to speak. He's alone, so he will have to touch on many topics. So he asked for the Speaker tell him start to speak when his time coming out. When he asked for time, the Speaker tell him he have 10 minutes. Use up the 10 minutes before he get additional time. But our next minister in the government was speaking and he asked for time. He gave him 5 and he gave the Monica 3. He gave Peter David 3, but he gave the other person 5. The Speaker definitely not doing things.
Bias. The Speaker is biased.
It's very
but
biased.
Did Peter David objected to the fiasco that happened with Dennis Cornwall?
No, Peter David didn't say anything at
You
all.
notice my brother Peter David always stay quiet on controversial issues.
Yeah, he didn't say anything.
You notice that has become his modus operandi.
Well, I mean, I myself and Peter David move very well.
All of us is good, man. Small country.
I'm convinced that the road Peter David driving going down is not open yet.
A situation, Caller, a situation like that was so blatant. Peter Peter would be the leader of a party. It was absolutely necessary for Peter to stand up and add his voice to it.
I accept that.
You cannot be a leader and you're hiding from controversial issues.
Because I personally looked at it, and when Mr. Cornwall started to speak, the speaker stopped him and tell him he have to deal with the matter privately. And when Mr. Cornwall came back, he continued speaking.
You didn't agree with the speaker? Cornwall did not agree with the speaker.
So I mean, that alone.
Peter David. That was an opportunity for Peter David to show leadership in a crisis.
Yeah, I thought.
You cannot be the Caller. I don't like sneaky leader. Now I say I like Donald Trump.
Anyhow, but I really
Thank
feel like the Prime Minister could do better.
The Prime Minister is a bandit. Thank you very much. Yes, you have a caller on the line? You see, there are times when you are expected to speak. And my brother Peter was disappointed. I thought you should have get up. On that issue, it was so clear. It was so blatant. You should have stood up. Yes, caller, welcome. Yes, caller, punch. All right, we lost that caller. There are times when you have to speak. You should not stay silent then. It was a clear case. You could have come to the rescue of Dennis Cornwall. And then the Prime Minister was making fun of you. What the Prime Minister was doing, Peter, was making fun of you. You should have stood up to the defense of Dennis Cornwall. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, I had a call back.
You're welcome to call
I don't know
back.
if I alone noticed.
Caller, you're welcome to call back.
That when Mr.
I say,
Mr. Cornwall, you realize that when the opposition team was walking out, Mr. Cornwall was not tapping the table. He was sitting back in his chair.
He was upset.
Did you realize that?
He was upset.
You realize that?
Yeah.
Right. Mr. Pierre, this $10,000 constituency allowance thing that Mr. Prime Minister said that he does not get. The Parliament is
Prime Minister lying. How do you believe the Prime Minister? The Prime Minister lying. How do you believe
I
him?
understand there's a financial committee. There's a financial committee that disperses this money. And you have to apply. So you're not applying for $10,000, I don't understand.
But what the Prime Minister want this money for again? The Prime Minister making over $30 million from selling passport based upon my own professional calculation. The Prime Minister traveling.
Mr. Pierre, the NDC and the committee and the cronies making people believe that the parliamentarians getting the money in their hand and on their account and in
Mr. Man, whether they get it, Mr. Man, whether they get it in the hand or the foot, the Prime Minister is squandering our money. The Prime Minister opened the door for corruption. The Prime Minister flaunted the laws of the bank.
I think we need to get one of the MPs to come and explain exactly how this money is acquired, because the NDC goons on radio is telling people that these members getting money and take it away from them and they're spending this and take.
I don't talking.
We need to get them on the ground and deal with them.
I like to go to the jugular. That is small money. $10,000 is small money. The Prime Minister have to tell us how much money he's making from the CBI program. It's a conflict of interest. He using government money to travel and government time. He out of the country more than he in. So the government of Grenada have a right to get a share in that 30 million based upon my unprofessional calculation. Otherwise, Mr. Prime Minister is a bandit. The Prime Minister, there are too much suspicious acts of corruption. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, good afternoon.
Yes, my brother.
And good afternoon to your listening audience. Now, Mr. Pierre, first of all, I don't see why you wanted Peter to put himself into the situation that taking place there. You know what I mean? I think that was the right decision to do. You understand? Let the criticism that you're leveling at him now, I'm okay with it. Rather than if he was to, maybe walk out like the rest did. Despite the fact what they did was, I agree with them. Now listen to this, Mr. Pierre. The way that them patricians does blow their horn after Mr. Leo Cato performance in our highest House of Representation, I finally realized that the noise in the market is not representative of the sale. Mr. Robert White, as a man who I know growing up as a young boy and you frequent Lafayette a lot, I would like to exempt you from that situation. But in case you choose to...
You mean you have been influenced by
I want to take you out of that. No.
So that is a blow for this patrician. I agree with you.
No, Mr. Pierre, you clearly said that you will attribute the international airport to Maurice Bishop and the revolution.
Yeah.
And if that is the case, Mr. Pierre, just like I have said before, the end justifies the means. And my reasoning and rationale for making a statement like that is that these people did not die in detention. You understand? They came out. They become prime minister of the country. They become ministers of government. They hold the highest offices in the land. They become our policy makers. What's the legacy? Nothing. So I'm saying this now, this afternoon. If we have to lock up another 3,000 or 4,000 Grenadians as we speak, that we will categorize as enemies of the state, and as a result of that, it will bring us a brand new state-of-the-art hospital and good health care for the nation, that too is justified. That too is justified. Mr. Pierre, I may not want to be part of it. But if tomorrow...
you may not want to be like Dr. Japal begging for water to bathe.
Well, and what I'm saying that even Dr. Japal was begging, I'm still trying to tell you with all of that, it is still justified. Because what we have today is a pillar of our economy that was established how many decades ago, that today is benefiting us in a significant way. The end justifies the means. And to them, patrician, I want to say,
I vote for them, patrician.
When you are sending some of you almost learned people to represent St. Patrick and the nation as a whole, please send us your all best. Have a pleasant day, sir.
Well, I think I got I like that blow for them patrician. But I'm going to use that opportunity now to make a call for Caribbean leaders. The time has come for you to call for Cuba to release the Cuban prisoners who are languishing in prison and some of them dying in jail. It is not necessary. After 60 years of a revolution, Cuba have people still in prison. If I was in Cuba, no sir, in jail. Master Call, Real FM, all of us in jail. The Cubans want to enjoy the freedom that we have. The Cubans in prison is unfair. Why is it you have people in Cuban jail without charge, without trial, and without an opportunity to give them to defend themselves? What more you want the Cubans to do? The Caribbean governments, the Cuban people have made immense sacrifice for the government to propagate socialism and help you. I plead with Ralph Gonzalez and Mia Mockley and Kit Rowley and the other leaders in the Caribbean to call on the Cuban government to release all political prisoners. Free up the press in Cuba. After 60 years, why are you keeping people in prison? Because they object to your system. Look at us in Grenada, how we free on radio now, calling Deacon a bandit, and advancing justification and reason why. What's wrong with the Cuban government doing same? People in Barbados criticizing Mia Mockley. In Trinidad, Kit Rowley. In Jamaica, Holness. In Guyana, why is it that you have to keep Cubans in prison? And tell the Caribbean people, what is the agreement you have with Cuba for the doctors? You're blaming the United States of America and Trump around. But you must have the guts to tell your people what arrangement you have with Cuba. Are you using the Cuban doctors as a means for foreign exchange for the government? Tell the people. I don't believe you're doing that. But if Trump accuses you for doing that, tell the people of our country, take our people in confidence. You notice Trump is asking for more freedom of the press in America. And he's signing agreement, he's making deal publicly. You, Mia Mockley, Kit Rowley, Holness in Jamaica, Ralph Gonzalez, tell your people what agreement you have with Cuba for the medical personnel that come in your country. Is Cuba using medical personnel for foreign exchange? Are some of the doctors in that come here, is they formally being held as hostage in Cuba? I believe that we owe Cuba a deep gratitude. But I also believe that Cuba and Venezuela have to apologize to the people for the sacrifice they make, for the blood and tears they share, for the government to propagate Marxist-Leninism and socialism. We're back with you again next week between 12 and 1 when you have an opportunity to punch. Thank you very much.